Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my special co-host, Franco Burrows. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, thanks, Doug. Great to be on again.
Great to have you in again. Franco, every time you do an episode, we get so many great responses from the guys. Just what you're teaching and what you're sharing with them really resonates with them. And you're really on the front lines for helping men all over the world, right? You've gone through the activation method, then to the alpha reset, then on to the brotherhood. And you raised your hand and wanted to do more to help the movement of men. And now, you jump into the group and you help guys that are going through some tough times, who are looking for a change.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the things that, came up, Franco, and we were talking offline, is I put a post in the Facebook group real quick, and we're seeing a lot of feedback coming in where, guys want to get back into the dating game with their spouse, with their partner, and with their loved one, really. And what's happening is it's a modern age, right? So, how do you dust it off? How do you do it these days? And you're the man about this. So what are some ideas that you have for the guys?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you say that. It's I don't think there's much difference between dating and long-term relationships. The dynamics are pretty much the same, just with long-term relationships. There's a few more spanners thrown into the works, you could say. There's a few more obstacles in the way. But what was the question? What are the challenges?
No, what are some solutions, really? We know what the challenges are, right? The challenges, the way I see it, is, because I've been there, Franco. Maybe you have too, I don't know.
I have too.
It's easy to fall into that trap of the old, right? Getting used to something. But then we look at, what's possible here, right? How do you actually start that game back up? So flirting a little bit in a modern day, you may not see your partner as much, but COVID, you may see her all the time. And, how do you get that spark in? Because, it's not like the days back when people wrote letters every week to each other. You can still do that, of course, but there's got to be some more modern ways of getting that flirtation going.
Yeah. Well, so many of the men I speak to say, my wife, my partner, whatever, she's always on her phone. She's always stuck on the phone.
Always on the phone.
So, it's about meeting her where she's at. As we talk about a lot with influencing, if you want to lead someone to a different place, you got to pace them, pace them where they're at and then lead them somewhere else. So if your woman is on her phone all the time, then let's meet her there. She's checking. A lot of women, they'll for me, I try and switch off my notifications. So it's my phone's not going ping all the time.
Yep.
But, I know a lot of women that they don't switch off their notifications. They get a ping, they're answering it straight away. They're looking at it straight away. So you've got you've got her, as we say in Wales, her ear, or her ear, as you say in England, if you're a bit posh. But, it's something that you can just immediately tap into her brain, into her emotions. And it's not like it was for our grandparents' generations. I mean, like my dad said, his dad used to come home after a long day at work. And I was talking with my mate about this last night, actually. Lie on the settee, then he'd get up, he'd have his evening meal, and then he'd either go back out to the pub or he might just chill out and go to bed, So the reason why he got away with that, I guess, part of it is it was just so much more acceptable to be the man who just brought home the bacon, and that was enough.
Yep.
But now we need to be a lot more in the modern day. Women are looking for a lot more, because part of the reason, I guess, is because they can take care of themselves financially. They've got options to do that today, which is great. All power to them. But that leaves us in a position where we need to bring more value to the conversation, and we need to keep ourselves top of mind with her, because there's going to be distractions. Some are just random distractions. It could be a stupid video. It could be whatever. Could be her friends texting her. Or, let's be honest, could be other men. Somebody sliding into her DMs, an old boyfriend or someone she was in school with, or a work colleague. So we need to be on our game. and we need to tap into her, get rapport with her, keep the attraction going. So texting is a really good way of doing that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. So obviously my wife's always on her phone checking Instagram and that's how she keeps up with her girlfriends, and that's how she gets her downtime when she's watching the kids all day. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's doing, a little bit more domestic type affairs. And she also runs a business, but at the same time, when she wants to go to Instagram, see what her girlfriends are doing, see what their kids are doing, et cetera. So she is always on her phone. And I like what you're saying with meet them where they're at, right? So if your partner's always on her phone and you're interrupting her, you become a commercial, right? You become a commercial if you keep nagging her, with, hey, babe, let's talk, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that. But I know you and I have talked a lot about this. When we talk about game, right? Everybody knows kind of like game of dating, right? You got to have game to date. You got to have game in sport. And I can already hear the objections here for some of the guys, Franco. They're all hearing about your grandpa, right? Your dad's father, and going, well, that's what I want. I want to be able to come home from work, take a nap on the couch, have dinner with the family, and then go up to the pubs. Yeah. But that's like, guys, that's like in business saying, well, geez, I want to just be able to, work a few hours in the field or whatever it is. I mean, make up your own analogy. But when business changes, you need to change with the times. And this is the same thing you're talking about here. So let's talk about text game a little bit. How does text game work?
Well, it works the same way. Let's start with what the goal is. The goal is to keep your wife or partner interested, attracted, keep her attention on you, as much as is it healthy. And, so it's the same principles apply whether you're face to face, you're at home, you're taking her out somewhere. So you're just doing it through the medium of text. And that's very important to keep it in mind. So, what I found is that as I sort of become curious about all this stuff and played around with a few ideas, is that it actually, in being aware of the words you're putting across or the things you're sending out, it's like, well, what effect do I want to have on her? And, what are the things that are going to make her or bring out those things in her, whether it's attraction, whether it's rapport, whether it's comfort, or whether it's just interest, understanding. So a lot of the guys that we speak to say they've lost that connection with their wife. So that's another great reason to use text. So how we go about it, there's different things. So first thing is when I speak to a guy who's struggling and he's realized, and when I say struggling, I mean struggling in the marriage, and he's realized, I don't know if you found this as well, speaking to guys, is that they say, oh, well, I'm doing a lot better. I'm doing everything right. And they say, every morning I'm sending her a text to tell her I love her, But I don't know what you think, but if he's doing that every day, she's going to get bored.
So I'm going to add in a funny story where you can make fun of me. So I've experienced this because I've done it, right? And so typical guy, I was running 3 companies at the time, Franco. This is almost 10 years ago. And it's embarrassing to admit, but I'll share it with you and just you, no one else. I started going, okay, I need to do this more often. And I found an app that lets you send random text messages to your partner at random times. Like, I love you, you look hot today, things like that. And I got caught. And the reason I got caught was my wife started noticing the randomness of the text started not to be so random. At first she loved it, but it was so bad. It was the same things over and over again. Every day at 12 o'clock, she got a text.
Right. So, yeah.
Horrible, right? Early mistakes, just like these guys are doing. You don't want to be like the same TV show, right? You watch it once, twice, maybe 3 times. It's still good, even if it's your favorite show. But after the 20th time, you don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah. It's like, I've had girlfriends who've said, you make a joke and they say, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say it. Or like I say, with the guys who are sort of trying to pull themselves out of a hole in a relationship, they realize things haven't gone well and they're sending her that I love you text or whatever. It's the equivalent of bringing her flowers home every day and hoping that that's going to make a difference. Of course, it can be sweet if it's every now and again, But if you're doing it every day, it becomes predictable, and it's something that is not necessarily appreciated because it's not spontaneous, you know?
Yep.
So spontaneity is a big one. Bringing the fun is a massive one, you know? So it's just a great assumption to make that every woman wants that, you know, what is it? Was it Cyndi Lauper? Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
So bring the fun into the text exchanges. Make it light, make it playful. And, you know, so a couple of ideas to play around with, you know, is we've got a sort of I mean, you say it all the time, the chief fun, what is it? The chief fun officer.
The CFO.
CFO.
Chief fun officer.
So just play around with different words. So instead of like, and when we talk about bringing value, instead of saying just a mundane question like, what are you up to today? How is work going? You know, now to a lot of guys, it's like, well, I'm showing interest. I'm showing that I care. That's great. And that may work, you know, if it's done randomly and spontaneously every now and again. But if you're sending that text every day, it's like, well, hang on. It's almost like she feels, oh, I've got to answer that now. It's something she has to do. So it's something. So in effect, you're taking from her, even though you think you may be showing care and giving value to her. It may be perceived as he's taking from me, he's taking energy from me, because I've got to think of that now. So rather than do that, just bring a little bit more value. So instead of what are you up to today, what adventures are you up to today? Just to play around in words.
Yeah.
You know, just use more interesting, engaging words. And she's like, have I had any adventures today? Oh, I haven't. And you know, she might just say something like, well, no, it's been pretty boring. Okay. So then you can bust on for that, you know? Depending on where the relationship is at, obviously.
Give me an example give the guys an example of that, because you know this is something you and I just do for fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you could. Oh, never mind. You know, I forgot you were really boring. Yeah. You know, but you know, and then you can sort of, or you could start it off with, this is what I'm up to. Something interesting. Yeah. You know, let's say you'd just met, I don't know, just bumped into a famous person, and that could be true or not true. Or, you know, I've just been hiking or something. You've been out for your morning routine and you've done a little bit of skinny dipping, as we do, you know, cold water, sort of Wim Hof sort of stuff. And then you send her a ping, you send her a text, and then it's like, what adventures are you up to? So it's almost like a challenge, you know? Yeah. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? You know?
So something I would do in that situation, Franco, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here. So if I came to my wife and we've been disconnected, and I love this, I text her, what adventures are you up to? And she says, oh, nothing, none.
Yeah.
Then I would respond, you know, right now it's Tuesday as we're recording this. I would be like, well, then great. Then go ahead and start planning your adventure, because Thursday night I'm taking you out. I want you to wear a sexy dress. And I'm going to take you on an adventure of your own, something along those lines. Right.
Awesome.
And so give her some leeway where I'm busting her a little bit, as you said, but I'm also saying, all right, I'm taking control. I'm going to take you on a sexual adventure and another adventure.
Yeah.
And give her a couple days to warm up to thinking about it.
I love it. And that's a great, I just always assume it's a good mindset to have, that when they say they're bored, it's just that they want to be led. They're just waiting for you to sweep them off their feet in some way and make their lives more interesting, richer, fuller, more exciting, you know? So it could just be a ping. You know, I like sending pings every couple of days, just a fun meme, you know, just a little, what are you up to today? But you're not asking her, you're telling her what you're up to, you know? So my mate has a good one. He says, what does he say? Just finished salting my chips. How did the meeting go? You know, so it's just like a random bit of fun. You know, oh, he's salting his chips. Interesting. but yeah, set it up. I love a setup text. So you know, one you can do is just like, I've just found a photo. I just found a photo of when I was younger. I look really cute, really, really cute. You want to see it? You know? And then she's like, she's going to say, what do you think most women are going to say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, show it to me. and then you send her a photo of maybe like one sperm, trying to make its way towards the egg. This is me when I was really, really young. So it's just like a setup text. Another one is, oh, have you ever worn pigtails? I thought you'd look really nice wearing pigtails, really cute. And she might say, oh no, I've never worn them. Why are you asking this or that? And then you send her a photo of like one of these poodles or something, one of these dogs wearing, the pigtails. And she's like, this girl, she looked exactly like you. And then send her the photo. Just a setup text, I love that.
So I'm going to pause you there because I know some of the guys listening to this right now are like, dude, my relationship, if I send my wife a picture of a dog and say,
I know what you're going to say.
I'll be at the pub only because I can't get into the house. So what do you do in those situations where you want to, maybe you set that setup text and you go, ooh, it didn't go over as well as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
How would you react? Or how should the guys?
It's a great question. So I would say whenever you're having banter with a woman, send emojis just to soften it up a bit, winky faces, smiley faces, and I would, if you feel that she hasn't taken it the right way, then you could just say, I was only playing, but it's a good indicator of where you're at in the relationship. If you feel like, oh, I wouldn't feel comfortable sending that, then that's probably an indicator that you need to raise the emotional bank account with her across all areas, So it's like you can't solve all your relationship problems with text. There's no substitute for who you're showing up as a man on a day-to-day basis. There's no sort of magic text that's going to make her fall back in love with you straight away.
Oh, come on.
So it's, I'm sorry to break it to you, Doug, Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with it. We always talk about standing in your power. So you've been through the activation method, so you know what I'm talking about when I say the shadow stick man and being able to be in power, or the alpha reset on Sunday. That man, if you come back to that guy, you're nodding your head for those listening, like, oh yeah. So there's no substitute for having that power. You have that power, you can almost do anything and get away with it to some degree.
Exactly.
However, you need to come from that place. And the text game, which is so awesome. And, there's so much we could talk about this for hours going into it. And guys, if you're listening to this right now and if you're going, okay, this sounds cool. Franco is going to put together a text game cheat sheet for you guys. Just go over to the Powerful Man Facebook group. It's a free group in there. And just go ahead and tag Frankie. He goes by Frankie in there. I know him as Franco. From the group, but Frankie, and tell him you want the text game cheat sheet and he'll get it over to you. But so I think, there's nothing different than how you show up day to day. You got to do the work. Just like listening to this podcast, and you and I have talked about this in the past, Franco. So many guys listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook, but don't take action. You got to take action. And the secret to what you're talking about is it's spontaneous yet regular, right? It's almost like regular spontaneity, which is almost an oxymoron, but you got to mix it up and be mysterious, so to speak. And if you got to set a reminder in your project management software in your phone, to occur, do so.
And you may need to do that in the beginning. I would say if you get it to work and you're coming at it with a great mindset, then you're going to look forward to text. You won't need a reminder because you will start to get the responses from her that she'll start to engage. She'll be having fun, and then you'll be getting some reward. You'll be getting enough reward from it. The energy will be self-fulfilling, Yes, absolutely.
Now, so let's talk about a few other things these guys can do. Let's give them a couple more ideas here, Franco. So, here I am. My wife and I are doing okay, right? Let's just say I'm making up a scenario that you and I hear all the time. But the sex is intermittent. And when we do have sex, it's just kind of like cold fish, right? There's no passion there. How do I start? How do I start out of the blue? And is it going to be weird, Franco, if all of a sudden out of the blue, I start being flirtatious?
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I think so. We speak to guys all the time where when you change, you start, even if it's just doing stuff around the house or doing jobs around the house you promised you'd do years ago, and then all of a sudden, then she's like, "Is this guy for real? Is he just trying to put this on now to, keep me here because I've told him I'm going to leave or whatever it is?" But yeah, it may do, but it's like you say, the key is to own it. And as long as you are doing it from a place of I'm having fun, we've spoken about that before, and you're laughing at your own jokes, if you're making jokes, then that's the most important thing. Because if you own it, then she's much more likely to go with it. That's what
Absolutely.
I would say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're consistent with it, right? If you're consistent with it and come from a perspective of, well, she's in that case, she's going to leave, so I'm going to try this to keep her here. However, if she leaves, now I got another tool in my toolbox to use for the next one that comes by. Because, guys, look, here's the deal. If you're in that situation, you want to keep your wife, do it, right? Work hard on it, do work on yourself and those things. But also be realistic that if she does leave, there will be time for healing and there will be another person, and you want to make sure you don't run into the same mistakes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And women definitely can be emotional, but they are arguably more led by their emotions. So, when you start to give her the stuff that is going to light something up inside her, she's much more likely to just go along with it than perhaps a man would be, because she's less logical in those moments. If you send her something genuinely that she finds funny based on her sense of humor, then you are going to get her laughing. You've got a good chance of getting her laughing, And the other thing is, it's not just about humor. You don't want to, I don't know if you agree, you don't want to turn out to just be the guy who's trying to make her laugh every day, the sort of court jester.
Yep.
I
totally agree.
Yeah. So send her a photo when you're in the gym instead of posting it on Facebook for all the other girls to see. Just send it to her. If you're playing, I don't know, you might be playing sport. You might be taking action. So, some of the guys that we work with, they perhaps they've started their journey with us a little bit too late for their previous relationship, and then they're now single, or their wife has left and they just sort of, now I need to get on with it. Or like you say, they may be in a position where things are good, they're okay, but there's no spark there.
Yeah.
So send her things that are going to remind her that you're a masculine man.
Yep. And I think the key that I've found, Franco, and you can let me know again if I'm wrong here, because I'm wrong a lot. The key of keeping the mystery here is also the idea of creating the idea of that you're wanted. Like, hey, look, if he all of a sudden he's sending me these text messages, is A, he's sending them to anybody else? B, if I'm not reciprocal, is he going to send them to everybody else? And so you start creating these questions in your partner's head. And I'm not saying that this is your intent, but this is a byproduct of text game or all the other things that you can do. Again, after you'll be able to stand in your power, right? So you got to go through all those things first. But the byproduct usually is, in my experience, is like, wow, what's going on here? This is mysterious. He's now more interesting, which means he's now more interesting to other women.
Yeah.
Is there another woman? What's changing him? Women start going through these questions, guys, a million miles a minute, right?
Yes.
She's going to be asking her friends, she's going to be checking your Facebook page, your Instagram, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your TikTok. She's going to start stalking you, which is going to create more arousal.
Absolutely. And it's going to be the case whether you've just started dating or whether when you become more attractive, she may get a little bit anxious about, oh, hang on a minute, he's becoming more attractive. So they immediately put two and two together and say he's going to be more attractive to other women.
Yep.
So it just goes with the territory. It doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong. Doing something wrong is flirting with other women, in an inappropriate way, private messaging other women and so on. But just being a more attractive guy, that's great. It's great for her. It's healthy for the relationship. So keep it going. She's going to shit test you. Or she may shit test you. But just keep going, I don't know what ideas would you give for that if they start saying, oh, hang on, what's going on here?
So what I would do is be playful with it. But that's also kind of my nature. As you know, you've gotten to know me. I'm just kind of a playful guy. But I'd be playful with it. If she said, "Hey, what's going on here?" Go, "What do you mean?" And just kind of, walk away and be playful with it. And if she asks, like, all of a sudden you're sending me these texts, you're flirting, just say, "Hey, baby, I was just thinking about you throughout the day." If you don't want, just kind of walk away. Or what I would probably do is grab her and pull her into you. Now, the shit test that I would get in this situation, Franco, is she would resist and kind of be like, get away from me kind of thing a little bit. But I would grab her, pull hard, and then maybe, nibble on her neck or something, or do something sexual. And then I would kind of walk away, or if she turned and walked away, I'd slap her in the butt and I would just start laughing. And, because then she doesn't know what's going on. like she's going to be ultra confused at that point, or she's going to melt into me. And that's going to turn into a fun time on the couch or somewhere else in the house.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, thinking about it as you were saying that, then the answer I would say to this, I guess the problem we're saying is once you start changing and doing things differently, she's going to feel it's a bit weird. But that is only going to last if you don't keep it up. If you keep it up and you do it right, she's going to love it, and she's going to forget about it being weird.
Absolutely. And weird is good, right? Like when you guys were first dating, everybody listening to this, when you were first dating, there was tons of mystery. You were wondering what she was doing at work. You guys were probably sending emails, texts. You're wondering, she's going out with her friends, or she's going to the gym. And, if she sent you a pic, you sent her a pic. It kept things fresh and alive and spicy, right?
Absolutely.
And, or it's like going to a restaurant that's always got new specials, right? The menu items, they're always new food. And it's fun when you go to that restaurant. Versus right now, for a lot of you guys, you're serving up chicken every single night. It's a dried up chicken breast put on the plate. And, hey, you're married to me. And eventually someone's going to say, "Hey, I don't want to come to this restaurant anymore." Right? It's not fun. So spice it up a lot. And again, it comes with your attitude. It comes with your intent, right? If you're able to handle rejection as a joke and that's the shit test and roll with it, then almost everything becomes easy, right? It's really a key. And then this text game, in my opinion, is a great way to get a catalyst. We talk about all the time, Franco, in the Brotherhood and other places about warming women up and different ways of doing it. Women are like it's always talked about, men are like a flash in the pan, right? We can get aroused in like a half a second, whereas women are like a slow rolling boil where the flame is just like a really small flame and it has to take hours or days to get hot, usually. And so this is a way with the text game, you guys, you could start at work or in the morning, or if you're doing your Alpha Rise and Shine, which is a great way of doing it, by the way. Show her something during the Alpha Rise and Shine, show her that you're taking care of yourself, right? Doing that and starting early allows you to set the tone. So when you do get home from work or get home whenever, she's ready. She's waiting. Her engine's revved up. And when a woman's engine's revved up, you can't say no. You just can't. She's not going to let you. Women are much more aggressive, in my experience, than guys are, and much more competitive.
When it's on for a woman, it's on.
Yeah, that's right. When it's on, it's on. And they make it happen. So, Franco, what are 3 things or a couple things that these guys listening right now can do today in the moment of insight, in the moment of action that they can do?
Okay, so I've mentioned one already, pings. So send pings pretty much every day, so it could be a fun meme. It could be a video. It could be something you're up to, something playful, rather than how are you doing, So the other thing then is send invitations. So this is great. I love the idea of sending invitations because whether you're in a relationship or not, let's say you're dating and you say something like, would you like to meet at, would you like to go out for a drink? Okay, at this time, this day. And she's like, "Oh, do I want to go out for a drink? Do I not?" So, and this would apply to men because a lot of the guys ask us, well, she's kind of checked out of the relationship, or she's kind of, or we get on great. This is what we hear a lot. We're like best friends. We're roommates, but there's no spark. Okay, so they're trying to get to a place where They've got that spark back. So the antidote to that is to have a more interesting life and then invite her into it. So send her a text, just finished at the gym, maybe that's the time to send her the photo of you, I don't know, get your mate, bench pressing or whatever. Maybe it's in the yoga studio, or he's doing something else, I don't know. And then you say, just finishing at the gym, I'll be stopping off here for cocktails or coffee or whatever, if you'd like to join me. Or you could say, if you'd like to sprinkle some fun into your Tuesday evening, you know? And then what I would add into that is that's where the text game links to everything else, because then you can say, well, oh, by the way, I've taken care of the babysitters if you do want to join me. So they'll be with you in half an hour. We're good to go. You just need to wear something cute. That we match.
Absolutely love it. I mean, you could take it further, wear a sundress because I plan on no panties. You can really go as aggressive depending on where you're at in your own game. It's not her game, guys. It's not where she's at. It's where you're at in your own mental fortitude with how far you can take it. Because if you are solid in who you are and what's going on, and this is more, I'm talking to the guys that have been through the activation method and alpha reset, because those guys are on fire right now. So you guys can do this because she'll just follow. She'll follow your lead. If you do that what Franco just said, which is beautiful. If you want to join me and sprinkle some fun on your Tuesday, and then the babysitter shows up, all you have to do is wear a sundress, no panties, because you're not going to need them, or something like that. She's going to love it. Absolutely love it. And if she gets pushed back and you react properly, no big deal. Right. Because guaranteed that she's going to show up for that meeting, because she wants to make sure that nobody else shows up in her place.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because you're sending, it's like the picture from the gym. She's going to put two and two together. If she's in a position where she's kind of closed off to you and you're staying open to her, which is what most of the guys we speak to, that's what they want. They want to stay open to the possibility that they can reignite the passion in the marriage. Then, she knows you're going to the gym. She knows you want her to be in your life, but she also knows there's other women there. You're becoming more attractive and so on. So it's like you're getting it on both ways. You're going to win either way, Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, as always, in the moment of insight, take massive action. I know we keep saying that, but it's up to you to do the work. We can provide the conversations, the experts like Franco here, as well as some insights, but you got to do the work, guys. And whether it be going to an activation method or just starting off with your text game, it's completely up to you. So your one call to action here is go over to the Facebook group. Go over right now to the Facebook group. Two things I'm going to throw out there, Franco, if I can. Go over to the Facebook group, tag Franco in a thread, say, I want the text game cheat sheet, right? Franco's put a lot of time into it. I read it this morning, and I got a lot of nuggets out of there that I'll be using right away. And then also, guys, once you've done that, send a text. Send the first text. You might screw up, you might not. Who cares? Just do it. Take action in the moment insight. Absolutely, because you're going to learn. You're going to learn from it. Either way.
I absolutely know it. Well, Franco, thank you so much as always for being here, man, and all that you do to help the movement of men around the world, and bringing joy and happiness into people's lives. I really appreciate you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Doug. Thank you. Just one thing to add in as well, really quick. I suppose that a lot of the stuff we talked about is fun stuff, which is great, and that's definitely a really good frame to have. I would say you can mix it up as well and use your texting to gauge where the relationship is at. And, it's okay to throw some serious text out. It's okay to send her a text and say, look, I know you're having a tough time right now. It's okay to say, I know we didn't spend as much time as we wanted to on the weekend or something like that. But just say, just to call something out and show her some understanding. So it's like using your text as like, what does she need right now? Does she need picking up? Does she need a bit more fun? Does she need a bit more care? Does she need a bit more connection? So give her what she wants or what she needs through the text. Use it as a gauge.
Love it. Love it. Love it. We use data in business so often, right? Just looking at our numbers. How often do we actually get that data? So Tim and I did a previous episode. I don't know what number it is, Franco, and it's not my thing, but previous episode on gauging a relationship. Guys, go back, listen to that episode. Maybe just do a search or in YouTube or iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're getting this content, and then combine that with what Franco said right now, and it's pure magic. It really is. So again, Franco, thanks so much. I'm going to grab my phone and start my text game again today. Man, you've really got me sparked and excited about this. Guys, thank you again, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.
Cheers, Doug. Cheers, guys.